I'm here tonight, as you all are aware, and most of the country is aware, of the incident, the police incident with Raaseon Adams, also known as Pike, my nephew. And I did a Facebook Live earlier the day, and I do not take anything back from what I said. Just making that very clear right now. Through the chair, I'd like to address the mayor. As I stated in my Facebook Live that I support this here mayor. I still do support this here mayor, but I'm not blindly supporting the mayor. Yesterday there was a meeting, a call together. They said, in quote, supposed to have been leaders of the community. I don't see that spectrum that I see in that room as representation of leadership from the African American community. They seem to be all cherry picked, and I don't say that to broad brush everyone in that room, because everyone in that room was not there to kiss a ring. Everyone in that room was not there to take orders. Everyone in that room was not invited. I think that the fact that I'm in this equation as a relative, and all of the work, my legacy of work in this city, to make it a better place for all of us, warrants that right. So people don't like to hear what you said, but I say that if you sat there and you didn't even think about, well, we need to bring these people into the equation, because clearly they could not speak for me. Clearly, anyone that was talking about there's a need for sensitivity training, you're outdated. Clearly. Because we have a systemic problem when we talk about police violence in the American empire. Does it mean that all policemen are bad? No. But what it does mean that individuals can transcend limitations. But it's only through structural changes with policies, change the way police departments function, where we see real change. I was totally offended by the lieutenant when he asked me what did I think, as though my thinking on what we all seen on the tape had any bearing. When does that ever come to the equation? What you think? They wouldn't even allow that in a court of law. So, what the mayor called for, say he's calling for an independent investigation. I'm saying this right here. Because some other news had just come to me, and I'm privy to it, and I won't put it on out there, but it's disturbing at best. But I would say this here, that if there's going to be any type of independent investigation, it should be the Attorney General coming in, not the prosecutor's office, because the prosecutor and the police department, they just have too much of a rosy relationship. It's like a husband and wife relationship. The husband is not going to testify against the wife, nor the wife. And I know that some of the people like to play plantation politics. I'm not about plantation politics. I'm about combat politics, where we get change, real change, structural change. So this is why I came down here, and I came to let the mayor know, as I said in Facebook Live, yes, there was a 90-day breather. He's new in, I'm supportive of him, but the honeymoon is over, because to call that meeting and knowing that I conversate with you on a regular basis, I talk to you on a regular basis. You know, you wish me well on my birthday, I wish you well on your birthday. You give me the Eid greetings, and I thank you for the Eid greetings, and then not to reach back out, I feel slighted. So I do not care who is offended. There are many people that agree with me and some that don't agree. And there are many that I agree with and that I don't agree with. And it's okay for us to disagree, as long as we're disagreeing based on principle. But no one is going to get in my face in any type of disrespectful way if they disagree. You're going to do it very respectful. And that's across the board for everybody, man, woman, whoever. So I simply just came down here to say that, you know, they brought into the equation that the issue of black on black crime. And I want to say it again, stop this silly talk about black on black crime. In fact, you don't even know where this was constructed at. and you're constantly using it. The bloodiest war in history was the Civil War, and no one characterized it as white-on-white crime. Stop this here foolishness. Throw this into the narrative every time there's an issue. Throw it into the narrative as though this is what we should be focusing at. If these things are real to any of you, black leaders and elected officials that want to be social leaders, then we need to have those forums outside of a charged up incident. Don't throw things in, and don't bring people in supposed to be experts as though we're going to just shut up because they said they're expert on the matter.
Commissioner?
I'm sorry. So that's all I really had to say. I thank you graciously for the time. If we want to have these discussions about black-on-black crime, about how we need to get ourselves together in the black community, then you black leaders, all of you that are listening, call those meetings outside of these arenas and be serious about it. And don't be charlatans.
Okay, Commissioner, thank you.
Members of the City Council, Mr. Mayor, I'm here tonight because of the disturbing videos I saw on Facebook over the weekend. It is clear that our police department, if they are being trained in sensitivity training, has no idea what that means. We had a deaf mute beaten, punched in the head twice, elbowed in the head once, knee placed on a brace with a leg that was injured with no compassion. We had another police officer, as the young man spoke in the way he spoke, laughing at him, and even the young man knew something was wrong with that. He pointed and said, look what he's doing. He's trying to indicate. This is not the first time. And in yesterday's meeting, that was the message I got. This is happening all over Paterson. It's just not being taped. When are we going to stop this business of pushing things under the rug? And the only reason Bilal Hakeem knew about that meeting is because I called him. There's many of you on this council that just accidentally fall into the meeting, and you should have been there. We are tired, quite tired, of excuses. And it's time that we look at this police issue from a very serious point of view. Why do I have to give sensitivity training when we should understand when you're dealing with disabled, you must operate a different way? In May of this year, you had a cop beat a mentally ill person in the St. Joseph Hospital. In August of this year, another cop beat another patient. 3 cops fired under scrutiny for selling drugs. There's a culture in this police department that has to change. I don't want to hear we took care of it. We should have known that we had the wrong people in the wrong places. You're going to hear people talk about the hideous video. And I think most of you have seen it, or pieces of it. Assault is assault by anybody. If a cop car rides up on me, and I'm on the ground punching someone, and they're struggling, they're going to arrest me. Why should it be any different with a Paterson cop? I respect the job that they do, and if I need them, I will call them. But we have a group that believes they can come into our community and do whatever they choose to do and get away with it. I have been friends with the police director, matter of fact, for the last 5 directors. And I still make my point that we are not going to tolerate in our community people that don't live here, who come here, use an uncle's address on a rental property for one day, get into the police department and leave. That's an issue. We need to first teach them how to relate to our communities. That is the first training, not sensitivity. This is Paterson. 54 different nationalities, 54 different problems, and our cops are treating all problems as the same. I'm going to end this by saying this. Yesterday's meeting should never have been held with a cherry-picked group of people. Should never have been held that way. I said to the mayor yesterday, and let me make it clear, he is the mayor, and I promise I will work with you, but I'm not going to ignore what I see. There's a difference from working with you and kissing the ring, as has been said. I said to him, I text you Saturday morning. First I asked him, please call me back, but you need to get on top of this today, in front of it. The press release that he gave out, I thought didn't go far enough. Stating that it's been given to the prosecutor's office was not good enough for me. The statement I would love to have heard was this: Paterson will not tolerate police brutality in the borders of this city. Let the community know that you will not tolerate and you do not condone these types of actions. In closing, which I know I'm over my time.
Number one, we are requesting that Congress Bill Passport get involved by calling on the governor to assign this investigation to the Attorney General's office. Two, we want policy change to permanently have the AG office to review police brutality cases in New Jersey, and especially this latest case that just happened in Paterson, New Jersey, from going to the county prosecutors, which does not have the independence to investigate their law enforcement, and in parentheses, local police. Three, establish policy of releasing a roster and badge numbers of all police officers to the public immediately after being involved in any brutality cases. This will assure the accountability and help to restore the public trust that all officers will be held accountable for their actions. Four, where in the mayor's transitional team report is the city's public safety plan. Five, who were the community leaders the mayor met with, and why was the meeting held in private and not open to the public? Six, private meetings regarding a public offense undermines the public trust. We are asking for the immediate release of the name of the officer and all officers involved in the brutal attack of Mr. Adams that happened on Carroll and Auburn Street in Paterson, New Jersey, Friday, September 28, 2018.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Madam.
My name is Brett Nation. I'm the Paterson Housing Commissioner. And I'd just like to say that tonight I come before you on a very serious matter. A deaf mute was assaulted on September 28, 2018 between Carroll and Dobbin Ave. Everybody paying attention? I don't know if you saw those videos, but I was shocked. I was shocked because one of us that was being restrained and was always restrained was hit in the back of the head with a fist more than once. We cannot tolerate that. Yesterday at 4:30, there was an invitation-only meeting of the community leaders handpicked by the mayor to discuss this issue. Although I was not invited, I was informed by Mr. Ernest Rutherford that such a meeting was taking place. Mr. Mayor, we will never resolve the issues of we will never resolve the issues if you continue to invite just those who support you to discuss issues such as police brutality in our city. If it wasn't for the uninvited guests, there would have been no dissent or different view of points portrayed at this meeting. Not even Bilal Hakim, a family member and longtime Paterson advocate, invited. It was a sham and a disgrace. Just like the people before, I am demanding that this case be turned over to the New Jersey AG Department office, and I am further requesting the name of the officer to be made public, as well as if the officer is still working in the streets of Paterson, or has he been placed on administrative leave? Final point. As a point of interest, I was just curious of what capacity did Lieutenant Dalton Price represent in last night's meeting? Was he the lieutenant in charge of internal affairs or one of the vice presidents of the NAACP? It is impossible for Lieutenant Price to successfully investigate a civil rights issue in both capacities. Thank you.
It was Godwin Ave, 129, actually, in front of that house. I came outside at the urgency of my daughter, only to see, and I stood beside the one officer who said that he was the one that was assaulted, but I was standing beside him, and I did not witness that assault. I just found it strange that in a city of this diversity, where you have people with so many disabilities and impairments, that we don't have a certified sign language interpreter for those people who are hearing and speech impaired. That when incidents of this nature occur, that they're able to be called right away to communicate on behalf of that individual. And regardless of what this individual allegedly did, he still deserved his rights to have someone communicate on his behalf. I asked the officer to please have someone called for a sign language interpreter, and he told me, F you. He was laying on the ground with the lower parts of his body exposed. I said, officer, would you mind please giving him some dignity, pulling up his clothes, because there are children standing here watching, and my grandchildren, 4 of them standing there watching. He said, F you, I don't give a F, and continued to stand there. I found this highly offensive as a female, and as I explained to Director Spezial, I'm a disabled vet with PTSD. So that was a trigger for me. And I thought back, I had to go inside and collect myself. I had to call the Crisis Center for Veterans and get someone to just talk me through this and come back out and see what was still transpiring right in front of my home. Once the man was assaulted and he went into the seizure, I work in healthcare. I said to the officer, please lay him on his side so that his airway is open and he doesn't swallow his tongue. You don't have anything to hold the tongue. They continued to leave his head at an angle for quite some time before they decided to turn him on his side. As a female, I should have never been spoken to that way. Never. And I'm not going to accept that. I arrived yesterday to file a complaint with Internal Affairs here at City Hall. The sign posted downstairs says the hours are from 8 to 4 here at the City Hall office. There was no one here when I arrived at 9:30. I then walked over to the police precinct. Why am I walking over there when the office hours say 8 to 4 here? So where are you that you're not here at 9:30, but your office hours say 8 to 4? So someone has to be accountable for this. And I just want to say that I know the 4th Ward is characterized as being a crime-ridden area, but there are the people on the street where I live, and I can say this, my block. The majority of the people, over 95% of them, we're employed. We're educated people. We worship in the area. We take care of our own there. And when we say that it takes a village, believe it or not, the 4th Ward is a part of that village.
Right there. My name is Maeva Jefferson. I will be graduating from Eastside High School to pursue a career of nursing. I'm here also to discuss the brutal video and the videos I witnessed on Facebook. As a young person, I had been taught how to interact with the Paterson Police Department. It is really sad that they were not taught how to interact with us. Many people have different points of view on the video on Facebook, but all I saw and always will remember is the brutal attack on a deaf mute. There is no community policing in the city of Paterson. What we do have is police officers that will use foul language at you, but if you return that language, you will be under arrest. Where is the justice in that? This is a sad day in the city I was born in, known as Paterson. Too many times after a police officer brutally attacked a citizen, I read or found out later that the attackee had been charged with assaulting a police officer. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do not believe because we are young, we are not seeing the injustice.
The incident that happened that we're all concerned about really did bother me. And not only because of what I saw, but it was because of the fact that we just act like we're numb to the fact that these things are going on. When I sat in that meeting, although I was not invited, or when I sat there and I thought about the conversation, was as if we just have to, relax and know that sensitivity training is coming and these things are going to happen. I'm really up to here with hearing it. Because when is it coming? This is not the first incident. And it won't be the last if we keep acting like it's okay. It's not. And I don't care what we say or think or not like about somebody. Wrong is going to be wrong no matter who it is. And when it's right, it's right. And Mayor, this thing is not right. And we have to admit that. But I didn't hear that in that room. It was like, okay, we turned it over to the prosecutor and we're going to allow them to do their investigation. It's like we didn't see what we saw, so let's wait until somebody makes us think we saw something else. Wrong is wrong. The other thing I want to ask, I know all of you have committees, but what committee is it that handles when a road is being resurfaced or whatever you call it? Who's in charge of seeing whether or not that is being done correctly? Because I'm going to tell you, all of you need to go right here on Seance and right there by the Salvation Army. That has been done over and over and over and over, and every daggone time it's done, it's a mess. And they're doing it now.
Again.
And you go up to this point, and then you back up like this, you don't see this part. So let's just fix this little bit right here. What kind of sense is that? So who's in charge of that? Because you gotta have somebody that's doing something other than saying it's okay. Because it's not. The last thing I want to say is, whenever we have, and I know the last time I came in and we were talking about the things with us as seniors, and I wanted through the chair to Councilwoman Cotton, if you were able to reach out to any of your legislators to see whether or not there's anything that can be done legislatively to help us as seniors with this rent freeze. I had a senior come up to me today and said, Muhammad, I saw you at the council meeting. You think they're going to do anything to help us? I said, honey, only God knows whether that's going to happen. And he said he had reached out to the legislators too. He had even reached out to Pasquarella. I said, I know Councilwoman Cotton said she was going to do that, whether or not that happened, but I will ask. So have we gotten any kind of anything in that direction?
Councilwoman, did you finish?
Okay, I'm done.
Oh, I reached out to Assemblyman Wembley and Assemblyman Sumter, and I haven't gotten the answer yet because you're looking for a rent freeze. Right, and I remember I get several calls sometimes, and I say to seniors, even if you don't get an increase, you still get that 3.5%. So I'm waiting for Assemblyman Wembley to get back to me. He hasn't gotten back to me because they might need to put a legislation together.
Right, but I took them the paperwork that New York gave us as to how they did it.
Oh, New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gave it to them, and I took it to housing. That's what they said to us when we went to that meeting. Give us the paperwork and we'll see what we can do. We went and got the paperwork when we came back. She said, oh, that could only be done legislatively.
Right.
So,
through the state. Ms. Mohammed, give me that copy and then maybe I can walk it through.
okay.
To one of the legislators. Because it has to be done at the state level.
Right.
And not the county level, not the city level.
I took it to Assemblyman Benji's office, but I'll give you a copy of
Yeah,
what I
let me
gave.
copy it, and then maybe I can help, we can walk it through,
No problem.
some kind of way.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yes, Sylvia Ford, 10 Antrim Place, Paterson, New Jersey. I came here to propose primarily with the issue, to talk about the issue that did happen on Friday, with the gentleman with the disability being assaulted by 4 officers, and also a member of Operation Ceasefire in the city of Paterson. And no, I was not invited to the table either. So, but I've been very active in what has transpired in our city. It was very disturbing, to put it very mildly. On Monday, I did go to Internal Affairs in the police department to file a complaint on these 4 officers. Now, being a retired union person as well, I know that from that aspect, they have to be laudermill. And there should have been a laudermill immediately after this incident circulated, because I know I sent it to everyone on my list that I could possibly send that video to. Even the mayor's, I know he was bombarded with copies of the video. So, all right, from that aspect, there's so many violations, from abuse of authority, unbecoming officer, all kinds of, there's a laundry list of violations on Administrative 408 alone. But just going back to the incident itself, to observe that video, it was so horrendous that it actually brought tears to my eyes. Then, okay, people spoke about the different aspects of this, and how the gentleman was beaten, he was punched, he was kneed into the brace itself, his clothing was pulled down in the struggle of what was going on. He was maced on the ground with his hands behind him. The gentleman, the officer, was on top of him, knee across his chest. He's turned this way, and he's macing this man. The man is in a submissive position. He's being maced. Children are even observing this. We worked too hard to build a community relationship for these 4 individuals to destroy it. In the incident that happened, there was and no one even mentioned the part. There was a sexual abuse that happened. While this gentleman's pants were pulled down, the sister's saying clearly, pull up his clothes, he pull up his pants are down, his genitals were out. The officer then, I don't know what triggered his crazy mind, he jumped on the back of the man. Am I the only person that saw the sexual assault? That's sexual assault. His buttocks was exposed. The officer straddled him in a position to penetrate him. Now, who didn't see that madness? Children saw this. My proposal was we can't hold meetings behind closed doors when something like this happened. Children were traumatized, people were traumatized. I can't believe this happened to a human being. The meeting has to be held on Godwin Avenue where the incident happened. We have lights, we have speakers. We can do this. The sun doesn't set that early. We can have a street meeting where it happened. Children need to feel comfortable and that they can, we try to build a relationship with children, feel safe with the police officers. We hope one day they will join the police department, the sheriff department, to feel proud, to represent their city and wear the uniform. We just try to get all these young men enlisted and join the fire department. The police exam is coming up again. Who's going to take the test? Who's going to want to be associated with that? It put a real bad look on our Paterson Police Department. I really don't appreciate that more than anything. I hate that. Those 4 officers need jail time. Forget suspension without pay, administrative 408 costs for that immediate removal, actually, for that behavior. They should be terminated already. The hell with that lawsuit. It's not important in anywhere that would uphold a lawsuit that those 4 idiots would think they would try to, it's just unbelievable. We have to hold an open forum. It's just like our children, they see the violence on the street. They see black on black crime. Yes, they see this stuff. But to see the officers that we're trying to promote are going to protect you, do something like that openly. I mean, they flex, somebody flicks a cigarette. But meanwhile, the other stuff is going on. You know what's going to happen with the 2 little groups that are beefing right now? Right now, they're coming together. What those fools did could have incited a riot. They could have shot even. Who says, thank God, you know, there were adults out there with conscience and that were able to control what the situation was. When a person threw the bottle, it interrupted the idiot long enough to stop him from crashing his skull into the sidewalk. That was the only thing that interrupted their behavior. Now, if our boys done something like that, they'd be called animals. They've been locked up to the county jail already. Those are animals. They did not call the ambulance. People in the community had to call the ambulance.
Ms. Farrar, your time is up. If you can please.
Well, I'm proposing that we do an open forum through the chair, Madam Doe, to the mayor, if I can address him through the chair, that we do an open public forum on Godwin Avenue where the incident occurred.
North Third Community Group. All I want to say is sad. It's a sad state of affairs. It's sad when people get paid to do a job and they can't do their job. There was no reason why that man had to be treated like that. And every time I see something like that, I get flashbacks from when I lived in Alabama. And people were beat like that. Just punched in the back for no reason, hit. But it was no reason for that man to be hit, beat, maced. He couldn't even hear or understand what they were saying. And the only reason why, and that's not what I came here for tonight. I came here for something else. But all I can say is sad.